So we're here in Slovenia. We just crossed the border from Croatia, where we spent about a week. So we went from Zurich to Munich, where we picked up some stuff. Then we went to Austria, where we passed in Salzburg, and we hiked around a bit. Then we were in Slovenia, where we went to Ljubljana, which is a beautiful city, by the way. Very cool, young city. Then we went hiking there and went to some grottos, which were very impressive. Then we spent about a week in Croatia, where we had an Airbnb, and it was close to Rovinj, pretty famous city, quite beautiful. And yeah, it was quite enjoyable to relax there a bit, to have this Airbnb, to not sleep in the car, which we usually do, which is awesome too, sleeping in our Volkswagen van. I hope I picked the right path here, but I'm not 100% sure even. Okay, now I gotta find Plaza, because I actually took a bit of a detour, and now I don't know if this is the right path. It should be right. Did I miss something? Let's see. I'm not the smartest man. Okay. Pew, pew, pew. So yeah, we just climbed on the first, you could call it mountain or you could call it hill. And now we decided we'd go on a second one. And yeah, I was thinking I would show you some of the quite peaceful nature here. There's nobody we've really seen so far. And secondly, I thought I would just talk to you a bit about some stuff I was thinking about in these last days in Croatia. There she is. Okay, I am right. So, in any case, while we were in Croatia, we were near some cities that we visited, like Porridge and some other ones. And to be honest, I was kind of appalled at the number of German tourists that we had. This is taking a photo of me. I don't like it, but it's okay. So in any case, I heard more German than any other language in this region. And nothing against Germans at all, but it was just very surprising how many they were. And also the type of German tourists. They spoke quite loudly. I mean, a lot of them were Austrians too, admittedly, but first of all, they talked quite loudly. A lot of them had beer bellies. A lot of them were older men and women, and maybe retired people, because it's September already, so a lot of people don't have actual work vacation right now. And most of them had like one dog or two dogs, and almost everybody had like an e-bike, and with those e-bikes they were like cycling around Porridge and so on. And also what I found a bit unfortunate is that Croatia is remarkably German in a way because all those supermarkets are exactly the same as in Germany. There's Lidl, there's Kaufland even, there's DM Drogeriemarkt. It almost looks like as Konsum. I don't know if that's the same as in Germany, but it's almost the same as being in Germany sometimes, you would think. And everybody kind of speaks German, and the food in many cases kind of is very meat oriented, like cevapcici, but then schnitzel. And in the worst moments it kind of reminded me of Ballermann in Mallorca, where all these Germans go to. But then again, we really avoided those very touristy places as best as we could. But I couldn't help but be a bit, I don't know, annoyed by those Germans, I guess. Just because it's like, why do you all have to go to the same place? Why can't you just go to different places? Why is every, like 80% of the people I say, why do they speak German? I don't know, do they all go to the same hotel, or do they all have like their campers? Or is it maybe anti-vaxxers? And because in Croatia you never have to show your vaccination proof, as opposed to Slovenia, where if you have to go if you want to go in like a sneaker store, you have to show your vaccination proof or your PCR test, which is quite ridiculous actually. But in any case, I don't know really why all those Germans congregate to Croatia here, and maybe they're all friends or something, or they all read the same magazine which recommended Croatia. But I thought it's a bit unfortunate because me personally, I like to be a bit more with the locals. I want to hear Croatian when I'm in Croatia. And also the fact that they all had like an e-bike, and that they, like a lot of the men were very heavy men, very overweight especially, and you would see their huge beer bellies. A part of me was kind of judging them and being almost kind of grossed out by Germans, and almost a bit ashamed of Germany, which is a bit harsh, of course. And then I thought about the reputation that Germany has in Europe, being kind of everywhere, being kind of annoying. I mean, let's be real here. Almost none of the neighboring countries really like Germany. I mean, Switzerland, they don't love Germans, really. They think there are way too many of them in Zurich and so on. Austria, I think it's even worse maybe. They kind of, they don't really like them. They have a word even for them. I think they call them, what's the word again? And I think there's quite a lot of Germans who go to Austria too for studying and so on. Poland, probably the same. France, maybe historically, but depends obviously on where you go. If you go to like a large city, or if you go to smaller areas, and usually people won't really actively dislike you. But it's quite remarkable, I would say, that no matter which neighboring country you go to, it's going to be somewhat rare for people to really say, oh, amazing, there's Germans. And this is going to be maybe a bit mean, what I'm going to say next, but I can say that because I'm German myself. I feel that Germans kind of lack taste. They lack a sense of aesthetics on average. Obviously, if you go to Berlin and big cities, you're going to find a lot of young people who are amazingly styled and everything. But I don't know if like the average German has an appreciation for like amazing food or amazing art, amazing music. And basically there's a lot of indicators for that as far as I'm concerned. Like there is the music, like there's a kind of country type music, it's called Schlager, that the Germans, a remarkable amount of older Germans like, which is terrible music to me. It's like I got ear cancer listening to it. It's like the simplest music. Like just imagine like something that they play at retirement homes or something, mixed with some really boring, cheesy singing. That's basically what they listen to. like a large number of Germans listen to. And then secondly, if you look at the fashion, I don't know, it seems to be more about functionality. Like, oh yeah, even when I'm going out to have dinner, I'm not gonna put like something nice on. I'm gonna put those hiking shoes on and those zipper pants on. And yeah, and then again, this is gonna sound a bit mean, but most older women actually have very short hair and have it red for some reason. What is there? What is that? Ja.
Jedes Mal, wenn ich so etwas sehe, denke ich, dass das so ein Sinkhole ist.
Ja.
Und dass unten da eine riesige Höhle versteckt.
Vielleicht. So yeah, in any case, like so many men are alcoholics and have these huge beer bellies, and this continues with the architecture, which back in the day was beautiful if you see old photos of Berlin or any other city in Germany, but after it has been bombed to ashes, after World War II especially, it has been rebuilt in the 60s as ugly as possible. You could call it brutalism, and with no sense of aesthetic. It's all about this kind of, yeah, Soviet brutalism almost, and it almost feels like the Germans don't feel like they deserve something nice. And the same kind of goes for food. I mean, you will find some nice Michelin restaurants, but the appreciation for food that you will find in France or Italy, you're generally not gonna find in Germany. And also like grocery prices, I mean, it's generally about as cheap as possible. Going to Aldi or Lidl, those are all those German chains which brought kind of like discount into grocery, which isn't bad per se, and I'm not gonna bash the whole thing, but most of Germany isn't that beautiful to me personally. And that's mostly not the fault of the Germans, because a lot of the beautiful cities have been destroyed. You can say it's not their fault, obviously. It's the Germans started 2 world wars. But then again, there's very much a lack of beautiful nature in Germany. Like, there's not much mountains, there's not much beautiful lakes. There's a few one like Bodensee and Chiemsee, and there's really some really pretty spots in the north, like Lübeck, in the east, in the south too, with Schwarzwald. But usually it's just, the more beautiful part is when you cross the border. Even when you go to Alsace, I think it's just more beautiful than what Germany has with Schwarzwald and so on. So, I don't know, this is too much meta thinking maybe, and even this beautiful, peaceful scenery where there's no villages, it's going to be very rare to find something like this, where there's so much untouched nature. And it's just very flat, Germany, and it has almost no sea. Like, there's no beaches almost. There's like a few ones, Ostsee and Nordsee, which is too cold. There are too many jellyfish up there, and it's actually quite touristy now even. So it's not really worth it. So compared to France or Spain or Italy, we really didn't get dealt the best cards, I would say. But here's what I want to get at, actually. I think it's not healthy to hate on Germans, let's say, or to kind of be too cynical about those, let's call them fat alcoholic RV driving, e-bike driving, impolite, sausage eating Germans. That's very racist probably, but I'm allowed to do that. I think it's fine to make jokes about it, but then again, I think the better strategy is to have empathy and to try to put yourself in their shoes. As I just pointed out, Germany isn't that beautiful, there's not that much sea, and it's not that warm. So why wouldn't you go to the south, to Croatia or to Italy, on vacation. And Italy is very crowded always. So Croatia, I think, is a good choice. It's not too far away. It's like a 5-hour drive or something. So why wouldn't you go to Croatia? And just because you think, I mean, it's a sensible choice because it's not too expensive. And let's be real here, the Germans aren't super rich. They don't have super high wages. And this is why they maybe can't go to Monaco or to Marbella or something, or to Madeira. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's definitely the right thing to do, to look at it with empathy and with love, and basically see that these most of these, even the guy who with a mustache, who with a beer belly, who's drunk in a bar and who is kind of loud, he's probably, I don't know, he has a few kids and he's probably has been a hard worker all of his life. He's probably a neurotic overthinker like most Germans are, and this is why he's so eager to drink his excessive worrying away, to shut his excessively worrying brain off somewhat. And this is why I do have empathy. And I think it's also kind of snobbish to kind of look down on people who always go to the same beach to have the vacation, who maybe have like one friend, like one family who they are friends with from the same village. And so every year they go to Croatia or to Italy and they take their camper, their RV, they play cards, they get drunk. Maybe they don't get drunk, I don't really know. But I think it's toxic to look down on people who want to live like this, because you don't know, maybe that's what makes them happier. Maybe that's their perfect vacation. And we also talked to an older guy who was actually from Austria. And he basically said, yeah, I love it when it's so warm, like in Croatia. And to him, the perfect vacation is being on the beach, having 30 degrees outside, not really going into the water necessarily, having affordable food, smoking cigarettes and drinking beers, and having fun. That's basically his ideal vacation. So who am I to say, no, you should go to Norway and freeze your ass off or something? I mean, yeah. Ja. Können wir schon noch? Sieht nicht so schön aus.
Ja.
Aber
Nachher muss man dann so runter und dann so zurück. Es ist dann schon alles in allem sicher noch 3 Stunden.
ja, können wir schon machen. Schaffen wir das, bis es dunkel wird? Ja, okay.
Es wird ja nicht am 7 Uhr dunkel.
Ja. Was denkst du?
Ja, wäre schon schön.
Ja, denke ich auch. Alright, so we just decided that we're gonna do the second summit back there as well, the little mountain. It's fine, but the thing is, it's still a 3-hour hike, which is fine. But it's already like 4 p.m. or later. So we gotta make sure that, yeah, we don't stay too long, because we're still gonna find a spot to sleep and everything, but it's gonna be fine. So in any case, what I was trying to say is, hey, let the people be, as long as they don't actively, I don't know, harass other people and make their lives worse. Who am I to judge? I mean, do I kind of prefer like the stylish French people in I don't know, Bordeaux or in Provence, or the elegant Italians in Tuscany, or I don't know, the stoic Scandinavians who spend their vacation in some fjord? Yes, I do, maybe, but I think it's part of German culture almost. A tad bit of self-hatred almost, and lack of nationalism, which you can think of what you want and the pathology behind it. But I think in general you shouldn't be looking down on people based on the life choices they make, especially if they seem simple to you and, oh, I would never go to that beach and I would never go to Mallorca or Magaluf, and which, sure, I mean, it's good that you know that you don't enjoy those things, but you don't have to look down on people. And I think this is something in general that I find a bit dangerous and sad, that society, it feels like, is moving more into a direction of lack of empathy and lack of live and let live. Because everybody is in everybody's business and people get a lot of enjoyment from shit talking, from building camps. And I think this is very damaging to your own well-being, but especially to the atmosphere you send out, the energy you send out, and the way you behave in this world. Let me become a bit more concrete. With the COVID measures in almost every country, there have been two different fractions that have been built. There's the fraction of the pro-vaxxers, and there's the fraction of the anti-vaxxers or personal freedom advocates, or whatever you want to call them. And unfortunately, like everything nowadays, it seems, this medical crisis has become political. And now, in the US at least, it seems if you're a Democrat, you're almost love vaccines, and I have some people on Facebook who are like celebrating their vaccines and always every day talking about how evil people are who don't get the vaccine. But then there are other people who obviously aren't very educated themselves, who are anti-vaccine and who think it's all a conspiracy or Bill Gates and chips and whatever the hell they're thinking about. And a lot of this is nonsense too. I don't even want to talk too much about who's right and who's wrong, because this is not for me to judge. However, what I found very sad and depressing is, on Reddit especially, I saw people celebrating the death of others. Namely, people rejoicing that anti-vaxxers got COVID and died. And yeah, I do get the point that it's kind of like karma or something, karmic justice, that, oh, look at those people who thought they were smarter and now they died off or something. It's always something like, I don't know, 40-year-old anti-vaxxer dies of COVID and now he leaves behind a family and 3 kids, and people are happy about it. And that's, to me, it's inconceivable. Why are you happy about the death of people? Even if they are your political enemies. You shouldn't even think of people as political enemies, because you should be able to see the common ground you have. But due to social media and I don't know what else it is, partisanship and maybe outside influence, some Russian bots to stir up the whole thing, I don't freaking know. People are genuinely happy if the other side gets into trouble. I mean, you probably will be able to find other examples as well, like anti-vaxxers being happy about people getting bad reactions from the vaccines and dying off, which does happen. It does happen, of course. And to claim that vaccines have no risk at all is stupid as well. I mean, everybody who does like 10 minutes of research should be able to come to these conclusions, like, yes, vaccines do work. Are those mRNA vaccines somewhat experimental? Yes. Do they have risks? Yes. Do we not think about alternative ways of treating people enough? Yes, I do think so. But still, I think it's good that we have a vaccine. That's awesome. And maybe for the sake of the greater good, it's best if we all get vaccinated, even the kids. I don't know. I don't freaking know. It's a very complex situation and experts have to talk about this. All I'm saying is, if you are at the point where you are happy that your political opponents die, and have a terrible death where they're isolated in an ICU, on a ventilator or whatever else it might be, or dying from the symptoms of the vaccine, or have mental issues after having the vaccine, or even dying off after taking the vaccine. Something is wrong with your life. Please re-examine where you're going with your thoughts, because your toxic animosity is not healthy. And to me, it's a similar thing, tying it back to, I don't know, those tourists that we kind of avoid because we don't really feel like we belong to that crowd. I still have empathy, and you still gotta be able to empathize, even if you don't agree with what other people do, and even if you find it somewhat appalling and whatever it might be, dangerous even. You shouldn't go so far to say, I don't recognize the joint humanity we have. Because if we lose sight of the common ground, namely the humanity that we all share, that's very dangerous. Yep. This was a pretty unstraightforward way of saying practice empathy and don't lose sight of what matters in life, namely community and love and peace, by overindulging into partisanship, into hate speech, into those bubbles you are into like those echo chambers you might have online. It's dangerous, it's nonsensical. And I think if you make an effort, if you practice your empathy muscle, you should be able to find common ground with either position in the country, even with those people you don't really agree with. Let's say even with, I don't know, anti-abortion people, you should find have the empathy to see where they come from and what other reasons, maybe religious reasons, might there be for them behaving this way. And I know I'm very skeptical of this anti-abortion laws in Texas. I think it's a terrible thing, but I think it's also an adverse reaction to the world becoming more political, and I don't know, many other states becoming more liberal and left-leaning, and people feeling like, hey, my freedoms are being taken away, and Texas people don't like their freedoms being taken away, so they almost want to go like even harder in the other direction, and now they want to do full-on conservative stuff to piss off the rest of the country, which is inevitably what's going to happen. If you become too extreme, the pendulum is going to swing the other way at some point. So it's much better to stay in the middle somewhere and make smart decisions, which I'm happy to say Switzerland has been pretty good at doing. Not awesome, not perfect at all, but pretty good at doing. I would say in general, people are not so heated about politics, and they shouldn't be. Not everything has to have like a right opinion and a wrong opinion. Honestly, I've been thinking about this quite a bit, and you gotta be a psychopath almost to lean into those political debates too much. Politics is for depressed people. This is a bit of a harsh statement, but I have a suspicion, a hypothesis, that people who obsess over politics have depression because they feel terrible most of the day, and they gotta find a reason why they feel terrible. And us living in a terrible, unjust world because politicians are mean might be a good reason for them. It's a valid reason. I don't know. Or it's just psychopaths who want to kind of kill people. So, I mean, if you think it through, once you're happy that your political opponents die, it's not such a big step for you to actively kill them, for you to actively go on the streets and go to an anti-vaxxer protest and just gun them down or something. It's not unthinkable, right? And the other way around too. whatever, it's a bit dramatic. But I think this channel is about finding peace and finding an equilibrium, and this is very much an important topic and a timely topic. I guess maybe tying the whole tourist thing to COVID is maybe a bit far-fetched, but I want to get to the point of empathy, and I want to get you closer to that, because you're going to feel better if you're not obsessing about this stuff. And also, don't judge people so quickly, and don't be mean. Just don't be a mean person, right? Don't be evil. Because just let people live their life. Live and let live. And have empathy. Cultivate empathy. That's basically my message to you. I kind of talked myself into a rage. But actually, I'm happy I'm on this beautiful walk here. Of course, it's gotta be a 4-hour walk again. Of course. But we gotta go hard. I ate so much food these last days. I gotta burn some fat quick. Like the sun is kind of coming out again. I love this. This is perfect. This is how I want to spend most of my life. All alone. With Larissa maybe. But mostly alone in nature. But still, I'm not looking down on people who this would be super boring for. Frankly, most people would much rather be in a crowded city right now, drink their cocktail, and then meet a few friends, drink a few beers, and then go to sleep. Most people love to be stimulated like this. And they would think, what the hell is this guy doing all alone on this weird mountain? This is super boring and not my idea of a vacation at all, so who the hell says which one is better, right? I mean, me, I could be really snobbish and say, oh, look at me, I'm such a free thinker. I'm on this mountain, I'm amazing. Those pigs just eating and drinking and fucking. I would never be like them, but secretly a part of me thinks, it sounds kind of awesome, actually. I want to be a pig too. That's my weird sense of humor. But again, there's no right and wrong. Just do whatever the hell you want. And don't judge so much. Especially not to the point of wanting others to die. Because then you're pretty close to a psychopath who could, I don't know, become like a mass murderer or something. And I hope that my viewers aren't psychopaths. Full-on psychopaths, at least. Yes. We did it. What does it say? Golic.